I think between Anna and I, we have the last two winners of this race, and we race as a team, and we'll be happy if either of us can come out on top. I'm so happy to have her as a teammate.
I know Katie is a really good climber, and I actually met her 2 years ago for the first time, and now we are racing it together, and it's her home race, so it's an important race.
I've probably ridden Mount Baldy 10-ish times.
They say it's quite special to finish up there, and it's steep. And of course, that's really crazy. If you are like the concurrents in a race, like we were 2 years ago, and now we can do it together.
We're high above Los Angeles, California for the finish of Stage 2 here at the Amgen Tour of California Women's Race empowered with SRAM. It's Mount Baldy Day, up to the top of the big climb, just about 2 hours outside of downtown Los Angeles. Brad Soner here with Laura Winter as we get ready to welcome the riders to the summit. Laura, before we get to the racing today, let's talk about what we saw yesterday. A huge day for Anna van der Breggen as she wins in Ventura and moves into yellow.
It was meant to be that day for the sprinters, wasn't it? But actually, it was a day for the climbers, a day for the GC contenders. It really shook things up. I think the win played a huge part, but Anna van der Breggen with that audacious attack to take the win with a 25-second buffer to her nearest rival in GC. What a day it was for her and for her team Boels Dolmans as well.
Today, a much different day as the climbing starts here. Who should we be looking for in the GC battle on Baldy today?
It's hard to look past Anna van der Breggen, isn't it, once again, but also her teammate Katie Hall. She's recce'd this climb, she's ridden it many times in her life. The length of the climb really suits her as well, whereas Anna van der Breggen perhaps more suited to the punchy Ardennes Classics type climbing. Ashley Moolman-Pasio, the South African champion, is another rider we really need to look out for, as are the likes of Kasia Nieuwedome and of course Taylor Wiles, second last year as well.
All eyes on the Boels Dolmans cycling team with the defending champion and the world champion. We caught up with Anna van der Breggen in the yellow jersey before the start this morning.
Anna, this is a very different climb today to the likes we see in the Ardennes. How are you prepared for the length of the climb in order to defend your lead?
I am not prepared. I cannot prepare myself for this, so I am prepared for a lot of suffering today, and that it will be a long, long climb.
And just one question on your teammate Katie Hall, defending champion, and perhaps this is a climb that really suits her.
She is prepared. She knows the climb very well, and I think this is really her kind of racing. Yeah, hopefully she feels well and she can do a really good job today.
We shall see on the road. Thank you, good luck.
Well, if Katie Hall is going to move into the yellow jersey today, she's got to overcome a 33-second deficit to her Boels Dolmans teammate, as Anna van der Breggen will start the day in the yellow jersey. We also had a chance to catch up with Ashley Moolman-Pasio, who'll be looking to make up 31 seconds today.
Yeah, well, it's always tough with Anna. I mean, she is an incredible bike racer. She's a very difficult rider to drop. So, of course, we just got to go out there and do our best as a team and look for any opportunity that might present itself. You know, I'm kind of hoping that, you know, it's the start of the sort of tours with the long climb. So I'm hoping it's some of the girls, and in particular Anna, maybe hasn't prepared that well for a long climb like this today.
Another day here at the Amgen Tour of California where it's not going to be a long day of racing, but this will by far be the most difficult stage of this year's Amgen Tour of California Women's Race empowered with SRAM. It's only 46 miles, but the climbing starts pretty quickly. After they go through the intermediate sprint, they head into the hills outside of Los Angeles, and Laura, from there, it's up, up, up.
The first QOM then, the Glendora Mountain Road Summit. 7.8 miles long at 5.1%, and then the almighty Mount Baldy to finish things off. 5.1 miles, 8.2 kilometers long at an average gradient of 8.4%, but max gradients hit much higher than that. This is going to be a really tough day in the saddle.
The final switchbacks will be key. You can see the elevation profile here, ending at just over 2,000 meters above sea level.
Mount Baldy is probably a bigger climb than we almost ever see in Europe. I think as a climber, we don't get that many courses with climbs this big. And I'm really excited to just race uphill for basically 2 hours.
The first 6K is super hard. It's lots of switchbacks, and then it kind of mellows out in between there and when you start to climb up towards the ski resort. And then the finish is super hard. The last couple miles is just going to be a brutal climb, but it's going to be awesome.
Riders begin in the start town of Ontario, just about 2 hours east of downtown Los Angeles, in the shadow of Mount Baldy.
And once again, a new destination for the women's race, and it's brilliant to see the riders taking in the sights and the mountains of this beautiful area of California.
Perfect weather for the riders at the start, but they would be waiting for some more difficult weather on the way up to the top of Mount Baldy. So as the riders took off from the start line, a calm start this morning. Didn't really see a whole lot of action early on, but eventually the attack started flying.
All the big hitters then lined up on the front. There are the current conditions, the weather here today, 45 Fahrenheit and much less wind than we saw yesterday, just 6 miles an hour in, again, a westerly direction, and a bit of sun and cloud, so relatively cool conditions for our riders, which they will be thankful for when climbing, of course, the many kilometers they have ahead of them.
They are calling for some fog up on the top of the mountain. It could get a little colder as they get up to the summit of Mount Baldy, but a little bit of time before they get here.
And there you see Chantal Black front and centre of the screen there, just on the front of the peloton as things stand, as they roll out of Ontario at the moment. She's an almighty rider. Lizzie Deignan, Hannah Barnes, Tiff Cromwell, those riders just spinning their legs at the moment, warming themselves up for what is to come. What can Lizzie Deignan and indeed Taylor Wiles, second last year, do today for Trek Segafredo? And what can Katie Hall do as well, defending champion, and this on paper a climb that suits her the best. The riders in Europe are so used to the punchy Ardennes climbs, the shorter climbs, perhaps slightly steeper climbs as well, but this is a huge amount of climbing in one day.
What a story it is with the Boels-Dolmans team this year as Katie Hall joins the team, a new addition this year after winning the Amgen Tour of California last year, and then of course you remember 2 years ago where she lost to Anna van der Breggen by just 1 second on time bonuses. So sort of a super team forming with the Boels-Dolmans squad.
So the peloton remaining close-knit and tight together here as they begin to make their way out of Ontario and out onto the roads up to Mount Baldy. And I'm sure the gradients are going to pitch up very, very soon. And we'll start to see a bit of movement off the front here. A WNT rider just having a go.
She takes a look back, hoping that she can bring some riders with her. Obviously, you don't want to be solo off the front. Looks like just one will try to join in the bridge. And now some response from the field behind her. So, Laura, this is what you want. You don't want to be solo off the front in a situation like this. You really need help, especially this early in the stage. So that was smart racing, making a jump and then looking back to see if she's got any company.
And here comes the sprint as well in Glendora. And we're going to see now who is going to be up for taking some extra points and indeed some bonus seconds here as well on this first intermediate sprint. There is Lisa Brennauer. I think she might be eyeing this one up. You can see the former German national champion, the bands around her arms there. Of course, a former world time trial champion as well. She's just come from a winner, Elsie Jacobs, over in Europe. And she is going for this one, Brad.
Wow, Lindsay Goldman was setting tempo up on the front, and now Brennauer has just ridden away from the group. Incredible strength from the German. So Brennauer will pick up maximum points with Lisbeth Salazar second, and Lauren Stevens from the Tipco team picks up 1 point in third.
An aggressive start then from WNT. It'll be interesting to see what their climber Clara Koppenberg can do on the slopes of Mount Baldy, and already we're seeing these roads begin to pitch up now.
And remember, they first go over Glendora Mountain Road before heading over to Baldy, and we're going to see the first selection on Glendora Mountain. It may come back together, but that's the big question mark. Does anybody get up and over Glendora Mountain with a gap?
Once again, we're seeing those fluorescent bikes, that white kit of Drop Cycling out in front as well. That's a team who's been super aggressive so far this race. You can see them here, lined up on the front. They've got Anna Christian at the moment second in the QOM competition, just to Marino, who's also on the front there. I think here we're going to see a real battle, a ding-dong battle between these two here, coming up to this QOM summit. The pace is hotting up here, and Marino is out the saddle, looking to get those points. Anna Christian right on her wheel.
Marino making a big jump here, looking to add to her QOM lead. She will pick up maximum points ahead of Anna Christian, and Corinne Rivera getting up to pick up some points in the QOM competition. Don't see sprinters picking up polka dot points a whole lot.
It looks like the US national champion is on for an aggressive day. She's keeping that effort at the front of the bunch here and just slotting in behind Trixie Warwick now, and you can see at the pace they're riding now that things are getting tough out on the roads. WNT rider here just beginning to put the pressure on and trying to split this bunch up. I think that's Katrin Hammers actually. Corinne Rivera then, the US national champion, 72 titles to her name, straight on the wheel. She's going to try and make a go of this.
Well, Rivera apparently found her climbing legs this week at the Amgen Tour of California women's race empowered with SRAM. As these two getting away, they're going to have a gap here, Laura. Looks like one more rider will try to join. That'll be 3 riders away, and this could be a danger group, although we certainly wouldn't consider this a pure climbing group off the front right now.
No, absolutely not, and I don't expect to see this group get to the top of Mount Baldy on their own, but they're going to have a go of it here, and I think that was Omer Shapira, the Israeli national champion riding for Canyon SRAM, who was just trying to bridge the gap from that main group and trying to get on to this duo out in front here. She's made it. We now have a trio leading this race.
All right, so Shapiro joins the 2 up the road. That'll make it 3, as this looks like Corinne Rivera just having a little bit of fun out here on some home roads, descending with an open road ahead of her. Rivera is a great bike handler, so this will be a master class in getting down off of Glendora Mountain Road.
She was absolutely sending it on that descent, wasn't she? Clearly having a lot of fun out on the roads in her home state, of course. And Corinne Rivera at the moment just increasing that gap to the bunch behind.
I like the bold riding by Corinne Rivera here, certainly taking a risk. The question is, will she have enough tomorrow, because she'll still have a shot at the stage win into Pasadena on stage 3. So I would have thought that she was going to save her energy, but maybe just trying to open up the legs here a little bit for tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to say perhaps this is a bit of a warm up to an extent, just a chance for her to get out there, maybe get some of the frustration from yesterday out of her legs and just ride. It is Omer Shapira there, the Israeli national champion, also team time trial champion with Canyon SRAM as well. So a rider who is beginning to win races, but this is by and large one of her biggest moves so far in a race I've seen.
Trek Segafredo not looking super worried back in the field. They had a couple riders up on the front, but not pulling too hard, as now they go into the fan zone on the course, where we get to see some of the classic American cycling fans.
Into the final 5 kilometers or so, and we have Corinne Rivera, Katrin Hammes and Omer Shapira off the front here, and the fans are absolutely loving it.
Well, if you told me this group of 3 would be leading on Mount Baldy with 5 kilometers to go, I would have told you were crazy, but these 3 doing a great job off the front. You can see the GC threats starting to make their way forward now, so this is going to get real fast, real quick back in the main peloton.
Ashley Moolman-Pasio just moving up there. You can see Trek Segafredo shepherding Taylor Wiles to the front. She, of course, second last year, so we'll be looking to step on up, try to get on that podium again. Right now, though, Shapira is dropping Rivera and Hammes. Shapira is going on her own here.
So Shapira probably the biggest threat out of this group of 3. This was to be expected, so she has now gotten rid of her 2 breakaway companions. Looked like Rivera was the first to go, and now Shapira is going to find herself solo off the front, trying to make it to the top of Mount Baldy, but this gets a whole lot tougher over the next 3 kilometers.
Corinne Rivera just being swallowed back by the chase group at the moment, but Shapira, 24 years old, from Israel, and off the front being chased down by the likes of Anna van der Breggen, Katie Hall, Taylor Wiles, Lizzie Deignan. Doesn't get much better than that in bike racing, does it? What an effort this is from the Canyon SRAM rider.
Well, should be seeing the yellow jersey and her Boels Dolman's teammates coming to the front of the field relatively soon if they want to bring this back in reasonable time. But right now, Shapira just tapping out the tempo up on the front. She looks like she's in a good zone right now for the Israeli national champion.
She's absolutely working hard. You can see her body just beginning to rock, her breathing becoming that bit more labour, but it was a good rhythm. It was a solid, strong rhythm. But the roads do pitch up steeply, and then they begin to flatten off, even sort of descend at some points. It's very difficult to get a real nice rhythm there, as you're seeing in the peloton right now. It's a relatively steady pace in that group.
Well, it may be steady now, but only a matter of time before the attacks start flying. And here's the first one. This is Katie Hall off the front. Remember, Anna van der Breggen tapped Katie for the win today. Van der Breggen said, "I'm just not prepared for the big climb up Mount Baldy," so it looks like Katie Hall may be the one for Boels Dolman's today.
She's making this extremely difficult. She's put the hammer down here, and look at the distance she's already got. She is blowing this race to bits. Ashley Moolman-Pasio, I think Kasia Nuadoma is there trying to chase as well. 4K left to go, and Katie Hall now has made her move. But what is the gap to Omer Shapira? She's got to close this down.
Oh, this is right in Katie Hall's wheelhouse. She knows this climb well. She's raced here before, ridden here before, I should say, up the Mount Baldy climb. So now she's just got to stay calm, stay comfortable, and try to catch Shapiro, and then should go right by her. I don't see her waiting around for Shapiro a whole lot.
No, I don't think she needs the wheel, does she? Katie Hall on a climb like this, she's wrecked this climb many times. I don't think she's going to need to sit on the wheel. And that looks like the yellow jersey just behind Brad. I think we have Anna van der Breggen also bridging the gap here up to the front of the race to her teammate Katie Hall, the very rider she beat by 1 second in 2017. Indeed, Katie Hall then winning in 2018. These teammates now working together.
Anna van der Breggen may be surprising even herself today, as she is going to make it back up to this front group. And boy, this is a perfect setup for the Boels-Dolmans team, with the defending champion Katie Hall and the GC leader Anna van der Breggen now come to the front of the group. They're going to dispatch Shapiro here very quickly.
I think they both clearly have very good legs here today. They are feeling strong. A flick of the elbow there from Katie Hall. She's now asking Anna van der Breggen take on some of this work. And we said Katie Hall may go through. Actually, Omira Shapiro has stayed on the wheel of these two absolutely extraordinary riders. So this is some ride from the 24-year-old.
Well, at this point, you got to think that the focus for Boels-Dolmans goes back to Anna van der Breggen, having the yellow jersey back up here. If van der Breggen wasn't able to ride up at the front, Katie Hall may have become the GC leader, but it'll be interesting to see if Hall stays with van der Breggen here and how they're going to play this one, because this could go a lot of different ways.
They're going to have to make it hard, though. They'll want to drop Shapiro. So you can see now Katie Hall is really beginning to put it on. She's out the saddle now climbing. Shapiro is swinging that bike to and fro. She's trying desperately to stick with the pace that Hall is setting, but Hall is an outstanding climber. She's made this discipline of bike racing her very own. She is born to be a bike rider, born to be a climber, and she's showing it right now on the slopes of Mount Baldy. And Shapiro, that gap is growing.
Well, this could very well have become a drama-filled day if Katie Hall was able to get away from Anna van der Breggen, but it looks like she's now going to wait for her team leader in the yellow jersey, and now it looks like Hall is working for van der Breggen here, so I think that answers our question of who the leader will be here on Baldy as they go inside of 3 kilometers. It looks like Katie Hall working for Anna van der Breggen.
I think there was a case of if Katie Hall can do it on the climb, if van der Breggen falters, then maybe, but you're seeing both of these riders now 1-2 on the stage, inevitably 1-2 in GC. It's a perfect day for Boels-Dolmans. It's a perfect race for the team, and they're looking to dominate here with 2 previous champions.
Well, remember, every second matters. Nobody knows that better than these two, so they've got to make sure that they continue to put the pressure on to get to the top.
Great job, eh? You are with 2, 1 and 2 together, eh? Come on, eh? Great job, girls. Make the times as big as possible, eh?
So Danny Stam giving some words of advice to his riders out there on course. Laura, Danny Stam, a great director for the Boels-Dolmans team. He's really made an investment in the American riders, bringing Katie Hall on board, several other Americans, Sky Schneider racing for that team this year as well. So he wants to get a good result here in the United States.
Absolutely. Evie Stevens, of course, Megan Garnier, also both riders on the Boels-Dolmans team as well. And he has guided so many riders to victories over in Europe and indeed here in the States as well. This is a very familiar position for Danny Stam. He's got Anna van der Breggen and a teammate up the road solo. This is how it goes for Danny Stam. I spoke to him just yesterday on stage 1 about the game plan, about how he would manage having 2 incredible riders like Katie Hall and Anna van der Breggen, 2 previous champions racing together. And he said, we'll see on the climb what happens. We'll see who is stronger. But they had a game plan yesterday to attack at 53k to go. Katie made it hard. Chantal Black drove the pace. Anna van der Breggen attacked on the final climb. That is exactly how it played out. So Danny Stam's tactics, his master plan here is being played out to perfection.
Yeah, he's put together a dream team for the Amgen Tour of California women's race, empowered with SRAM, with the stage win yesterday, the stage domination yesterday, and now looks like they're not only going to dominate stage 2, but will widen the GC lead for Anna van der Breggen.
Yes, now it's about managing that gap to 3rd place and managing the time gaps here on the road in both the stage and the general classification.
Girls, you have 40 seconds ahead of the group Meulman. Nieuwe Doma is dropped at Meulman, so it's Katie and Anna in lead. Then we have behind Meulman with number 26 from Canyon SRAM, and then we have Nieuwe Doma.
All right, so you heard Stam there, 40 seconds. That's about as good as it can get for these two. Little bit of a gap here, as now it looks like van der Breggen is starting to gap off Katie Hall, so maybe they've given them to go ahead to start racing against each other here.
maybe Van der Breggen felt 40 seconds was too short a gap, was too small a gap, and she wants to try and make some moves here. It's now down to Katie Hall to try and get back on her teammate's wheel here and ensure that she can be second here on both the stage and GC.
Well, Katie Hall did a lot of work early on. Remember, spent some time up at the front and then really initiated the attacks here early on, sort of started the real racing on Mount Baldy. So understandable that she may run out of gas before they get to the top. Van der Breggen is looking back. I don't know if she's going to wait for the teammate here. This is a tough situation for the Boels-Dolmans teammates.
It's a good headache to have, isn't it? To have two star riders, both of whom could win the race in their own right, and to be up the road like that, they're going to have to battle it out. Here, though, we see the battle for third and fourth, and Ashley Moolman-Pasio has made the catch to Omer Shapira, the early leader out here on the road. The South African national champion, who's very much at home climbing, she has made the gap here. She spent a couple of weeks before this training at altitude in Boulder, taking on some longer climbs in preparation for this. And she said to me before the stage that she didn't feel the shorter climbs were really for her yesterday, and a day like today is suiting her, and it looks like she's riding into third place. Still though, that gap between Van der Breggen and Katie Hall, I'm not sure what's going to happen here, whether Hall can bridge that gap, whether Van der Breggen will wait for her.
I noticed Van der Breggen staying in the saddle. I saw Katie Hall standing up a little bit, putting in a little more effort, so Hall may be able to come back here. Man, this would be a huge resurgence for Katie Hall if she was able to get back up to her teammate.
Absolutely. We'll see, though, what Danny Stam has to say.
Come on, girls, keep going, together, 1 kilometer to go, almost there, come on.
Oh, there are the instructions, and now they go inside the final, should be the final kilometer here. Let's take a look at who takes the stage win here. Maybe they'll gift the stage win to Katie Hall for her work early on, but again, there is a time bonus at the finish, so maybe Van der Breggen is more worried about the time bonus for the stage win. We'll wait and see.
It's the perfect position, though, isn't it, for Boels-Dolmans? They've got two riders out in front here, a 1-2 on this stage, a 1-2 in the general classification. It could not be better right now for the Dutch registered team. And Katie Hall just taking over the effort here on the front. You're right, it could be this is going to be a day for Katie Hall. She's got family here. It's her home state. This really is a race she loves.
Pretty amazing that Katie Hall is back here racing at the Amgen Tour of California on a contract that she earned at this race last year. This is almost surely where the decision was made for Danny Stam and the Boels-Dolmans team to bring Katie Hall on board. So now she's back on Mount Baldy with a whole different approach to the Amgen Tour of California women's race empowered with SRAM.
And the body position of both of the riders here demonstrating just how tough this climbing is now getting, just how steep these roads are now getting as they're reaching the final few switchbacks and coming down towards the finish line. Van der Breggen out the saddle, so is Katie Hall, and they're coming to the line right now, Brad.
All right, last turn, the crowd roaring for the arrival of these two superstars as they will go 1 and 2 on the stage. We'll sort out the order here as they get to the top. Van der Breggen opens a little bit of a gap. Katie Hall not looking too worried behind her as now they come onto the finishing stretch. Hall will be able to make the catch. Looks like she's going to go by her, and I don't see any real issue with letting Katie Hall have the stage win here for Anna Van der Breggen.
Absolutely not. Katie Hall then looks like she will take another stage win for the 4th consecutive year at the Amgen Tour of California women's race empowered with SRAM. She'll have her teammate and the leader of the overall general classification here in the race in 2nd place. A perfect day for Katie Hall and Anna Van der Breggen.
Domination for the Boels-Dolmans professional cycling team as they go 1 and 2. That will almost certainly seal up the yellow jersey for the Amgen Tour of California women's race here heading into the final day tomorrow.
Boels-Dolmans, Swanya there, Smiley is his name, just tending to Katie Hall to make sure she's okay after her efforts today. But that battle for 3rd place, well, it goes to South African Moolman-Pasio. She rounds that final corner down the finishing straight here onto the Mount Baldy summit. All importantly, though, we're looking at the time gaps here for the general classification. She's 33 seconds down on the stage, and we'll look to see what that does to the GC as well.
Not a bad ride for Ashley Moolman-Pasio considering the talent up the road going 1 and 2.
Clara Koppenberg then at WNT Rota Pro Cycling. A great ride from her, a real effort there to get over the line. She takes 4th in the stage, but look how happy Katie Hall is to pick up another stage win here at the Tour of California, a race she truly loves.
Nice to see that trademark Katie Hall smile at the finish line, and they got a lot to be happy about for the Boels-Dolmans team today, not only going 1 and 2, but also moving into 1st and 2nd overall on the general classification.
cool as you like from Anna van der Breggen. I'm sure inside her legs are screaming after the effort today. She said she wasn't prepared. Well, she certainly was. Hands off the bars, in the air, victory for Katie Hall, her teammate, and a consolidation of her lead here at the Tour of California.
Saw that little look over to the right. Katie Hall got a chance to see her family at the finish line celebrating her win. So a special day for Katie Hall and the Bulls-Dolman cycling team.
And there you go, hugs at the finish line as well. 1-2 on a stage, that's pretty much perfect, isn't it?
So Hall stands on the top step of the podium next to her teammate Anna van der Breggen in second, and then 33 seconds behind them, we saw Ashley Moolman-Pasio come across the line in third. That moves Pasio into third place overall on the GC, but still a minute 5 down heading into the final day tomorrow. Katie Hall at 29 seconds to the yellow jersey of Anna van der Breggen.
Moolman-Pasio third, Koppenberg fourth, and Nieuwiadoma in fifth. Anna, a 1-2 for Bulls-Dolmans, and you looked as happy with that as if you'd crossed the line first yourself. Talk me through the tactics. You said it wouldn't be tactical, but that looked pretty tactical to me to get you and Katie up the road.
Yeah, well, that's the ideal situation, and yeah, I felt good today, and Katie also felt good today, so then it's possible to get 1 and 2. So yeah, it was really cool.
Talk me through the closing kilometres as well, and how the attacks really began.
Well, the girl on front got around 1 minute, and it wasn't really coming closer. So, yeah, Katie started making a quite hard pace, and then she got a gap, and I also actually felt quite good, and I waited a bit, and then I could close to Katie. So then it's going as hard as possible to the finish line. So, yeah, it's really special to be first and second here, and Katie has some family here. Which is of course always cool to win, but if your family is here it makes it more special. So yeah, this is a really nice feeling.
And you said to me before that you hadn't specifically prepared for a long effort like this. You did all right, didn't you though?
Yeah. But it did hurt. I mean, yeah, it's a different intensity than doing a 1K climb like yesterday. But yeah, the pace was quite steady, and I mean, it's hard anyway, but it's hard for everybody. It's just seeing how it feels, and it felt quite good, so I'm really happy with that.
And you're still leader going into day 3 here at the Tour of California. Just one more day left to defend that jersey. How is that going to happen?
Well, hopefully like the first and the second day. We just try to do as best as possible. Tomorrow is another hard day, so recovery now, and then we try tomorrow again.
Well done today, Anna. Congratulations.
So we got a cool chance to get a look at the onboard camera on Katie Hall's bike as she approached the finish line at the top of Mount Baldy.
And it wasn't just the professional peloton who got a chance to look at this either. So many fans rode their bike up today, and you know, I wish I was one of them. I would have killed to ride this climb. It looks absolutely epic. Katie, congratulations. A brilliant effort, a brilliant win, and amazing teamwork as well between you and your teammate Anna van der Breggen. Talk me through the moment where you decided to push the pace.
Yeah, we hit the switchbacks with about 3K to go, and I punched it and got a small gap. I was really trying to close down the gap to the 3 that were off the front, but got a little gap on my group, and then Anna bridged up to me, and we got to work together to the finish and went 1-2. So that was really, really cool.
It's a pretty perfect day out, isn't it? And another stage win for you at the Tour of California. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I think this is my 4th year here with a stage win, and so yeah, this is my home state, and just I love racing here. I love these big mountains, and it was a really cool course today.
And Anna, of course, we haven't seen GC yet, but Anna, of course, leader at the moment in general classification. I'd imagine you may have crept up there to second place now as well. Happy with that?
Yeah, very, very happy. If we can get 1-2 in GC here, that's really, really a good stage race for us. So
stage 3 tomorrow. Yeah. Thinking now ahead, what's the game plan there?
Probably defend first and second would be still a successful day.
Congratulations, well done today.
Thank you so much.
Well, after 2 tough days of climbing, will tomorrow finally see the sprinters come to the fore in Pasadena?
We'll find out on stage 3 as the Amgen Tour of California women's race, empowered with SRAM, heads into its final day from Santa Clarita to Pasadena tomorrow. For Laura Winter, I'm Brad Soner. We'll see you there.